Marvel Studios is one of the most revolutionary companies to date and has gained a lot of praise with its films in recent years. In this video, you will see how one of the most underrated comic book characters carried this company to billions. Our story starts in 1960s. You're probably thinking, didn't this company start recently? Well, that's not the case. Comic books were one of the biggest things back then that everybody flocked toward, no matter how old you were. Some of the biggest names came out of that decade like Spider-Man, Captain America, the Fantastic Four, and so on. Marvel Comics would gain so much revenue, they were one of the most respected companies at the time, and that would compete with DC Comics. If you thought this behemoth of a company could be stopped, just wait and see what happens next. Fast forward to the 1990s, Marvel wasn't doing so well with their income and investors. Marvel would invest in many things that would hurt their company and not help it thrive. Marvel would get into trouble with rich investors not wanting to support their cause, and that would ultimately be one step in their downfall of the powerhouse. If you think that the story is over, that is far from true. Later down the line in 1996, Marvel would fight valiantly through legal trouble, and evil investors would emerge from the darkness to see better days. Marvel would come back to the comic book industry, but that's not what I want to focus on. I want to look at the rise of superhero films that no one saw coming. Many Marvel movies back then did not fly like Howard the Duck and Daredevil. The rights to Spider-Man were tangled up in the businesses so that marks off one list for the comic book character. But one man would start such a ripple effect on comic book movies that would be a milestone in their success. That man was Avi Arad. Avi Arad would replace Stan Lee in the movie business to oversee all Hollywood productions on behalf of the company. In the late 90s, his effects would be seen in the hit films Blade and X-Men. Even the company in the late 1990s, his effect would be seen in the hit films Blade and X-Men. Even though those movies performed well, Marvel didn't get a good share of the money though. When Blade made over $75 million, Marvel would only get a measly $25 in return. Avi Arad said here, "We were giving away the best part of our business. Even though these movies saw such great success, Marvel would not benefit the way they thought they would, but one man would have a mind-blowing idea that would set the spark for the wildfire that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe." In 2003, David Mazouz proposed to Marvel what a wonderful idea. Since Marvel had not been benefiting from the films over at their studios, he proposed that the company make its own studio. Mazouz also told Marvel and their films should intertwine and connect with one big story. Marvel's directors were not so sold on this idea due to the failure of films in the 90s, but in 2005, Marvel would make a deal with the devil that could bring them success or bring them down for good. Marvel proposed to Merrill Lynch that we would give them some money to make our movies, but if the films failed, the rights to the characters would go straight back to the bank. The lineup of the characters would consist of Black Widow, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, and Iron Man. The first movie that was chosen to kickstart the cinematic universe was Iron Man. The character of Iron Man was in the comic but held in the 90s due to the writers not wanting to do the story. The star they got for Iron Man was Robert Downey Jr. It was an interesting choice for the star due to his past of being jailed and getting in trouble, but it was almost like a comeback story for the actor and the character. Despite the uncertainty, the film Iron Man made a whopping $585 million, kickstarting a series that would make a dent in cinema for years to come. One person who would oversee the vast concept of a cinematic universe would lead the company to the movies because this man would keep all of the universe in check. And that man was Kevin Feige. The next big milestone came in 2009 when Disney bought the rights for Marvel Studios for $4 billion. Disney would lead this company due to victory with major successes like The Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, and way more. For a company that was on the brink of financial debt nearly 20 years ago, this is truly one of the best comeback stories of all time and will surely go down in history. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I would love if you hit the subscribe button, like the video, and comment down below your thoughts on the video. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.